And welcome to Philadelphia's annual Disability Pride celebration and parade. It's a beautiful day. We have a lot of folks here, a lot of old faces, new faces. Let's give everybody a round of applause. It's very special to kick off this annual event on these sacred grounds where we celebrate our Constitution that guarantees the freedom, independence, and liberty for every American to live in the community of their choice. We got Independence Hall, where the Declaration was signed, the federal courthouse for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, and the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, which have a strong history in Philadelphia, especially under the Americans with Disabilities Act, with cases like Kinney versus Jerusalem, which was the first curb cut case in the country that set the precedent that says that whenever any municipality, town, or city like Philadelphia repaves their streets, they have to include new curb cuts at every sidewalk corner when they do that. And thanks to Steve Gold and the Disabilities Law Project back then for bringing that case. That case was followed around the country, and that's why we see so many curb cuts that help everybody. So we're very excited about that. The next piece of rich history in our disability movement in Philadelphia came a little bit later in the 90s under the community integration mandate of the ADA. In the Helen L. versus D'Addario decision that was argued right here in the Third Circuit, again by our champion Steve Gold and Eileen Shane and Robin Resnick from the Disabilities Law Project. I know this stuff because at the time I was a young budding attorney and they were my mentors. And that case held that every person with a disability under the ADA has a right to receive their services that they need in the most integrated setting possible, as opposed to nursing facilities and nursing homes. That case went on to be the precedent that led to the victory at the U.S. Supreme Court in the Olmstead decision, which again is the landmark case that upholds the community integration mandate of the ADA and the right of every person with a disability in the United States to live and choose to live in the community setting. So we're very blessed to have this great history in Philadelphia and great warriors like the Disabilities Law Project, which is now the Disability Rights Network of PA. Steve Gold just recently retired. I don't know if he's here in the crowd. He might be with us later. We also have a great city council that is helping advance important issues like affordable, accessible housing so that we can move people out of unnecessary placement in nursing facilities. That's huge, and we appreciate their leadership and also the leadership of Mayor Jim Kenney. And it's really exciting to be here today. We have a lot to celebrate, and one of the beautiful things about this event is what's inside this building right here. And that is the wheelchair that belonged to Justin Dart on the day that the ADA was signed into law on July 26, 1990. Justin Dart was there with then President Bush, Evan Kemp, and many leaders of ADAPT. Are there any members of ADAPT here? Oh yeah, Philly ADAPT. Woo! All right. D-A-P-T. Awesome. Yep. So if you have a moment or have a chance, please take your family and friends inside after the parade to look at Justin Dart's wheelchair. And that wheelchair came to Philadelphia through Justin's beautiful widow, Yoshiko Dart, who will be speaking a little later. She's here with us today, came up from Washington, D.C., as she does every year. But before we get further along, we'd like to kick off the day with the singing of our beautiful national anthem, which helps us at this time when our nation is in such a state of division. We're here to celebrate and unify and celebrate our ADA. We do not want to weaken our ADA, we want to strengthen it. So let's turn it over to Charlene Anderson to sing the national anthem.
Come on, girl.
There we go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we held were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Wonderful singing, beautiful job, beautiful job. Let's give an extra round of applause for that. Thank you, Charlene, beautiful voice. I also want to thank the U.S. Constitution Center and Jennifer Winterly for helping us again this year host the kickoff of this event. Jennifer's around here somewhere. Where are you, Jennifer? She's hiding. Let's not let, there she is, okay. And also acknowledge Councilwoman Helen Gim and Councilman Al Halbenberger. And I think they'll be saying some remarks in a moment, but I think next on the agenda are a few words from Yoshiko Dart. Let's give a warm Philadelphia welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Carries injustice. Justin and I love you. Happy Disability Pride of Philadelphia. Congratulations to people like Vicky Landers who are taking Disability Pride to new levels with the city of Philadelphia. Congratulations to all those who have worked so hard to make this event possible, and to all the wonderful event sponsors. Thank you, NCC and Janelle, for the permanent exhibit of Justin's ADA wheelchair. Colleagues, we need to take disability pride into the darkest places and shine the light on. Congratulations to the heroes of ADAPT for shining that light. Heroes like Cassie, Holdsworth, Nancy Salandra, Herman Parodi, and I see Dawn from Denver over there. Thank you for coming all the way. And the great Liberty Resources and the staff led by Tom Earl are leading the way to preserve healthcare and defend the rights which my husband fought for. We need to teach our children and our history so they can lead not just disabled children, but all our children. Congratulations, Johnny, Izzy, and Stacy for designing classes for schools, where they teach about the message of all the great leaders and organizers who have been working to build an inclusive society, a society which we continue to dream, imagine, and fight for, and sometimes defend. Disability pride means we stop apologizing. Instead, we expect, we demand having the same rights and opportunities as other people. We must get into the advocacy actions and fight to secure them as Justin did. He is crying out to you. My colleagues, I am with you always. I love you. Lead on, free our people. Free our people. Thank you.
People, free our people, free our people. If you notice, that was Michelle McCandless standing to the left of Yoshiko with the trademark cowboy hat that Justin wore so often and that we remember him by. So great job, Michelle. Thank you. Next, I believe we're going to have a few words from some of our council members, but before we do that, I'd like to thank one specific sponsor. We have a lot of great sponsors, but it's important to note that as the disability community across Pennsylvania prepares for the shift to managed care for community-based supports and services, that our community is going to make sure that those services, when they transition to managed care, provide the best quality services that our folks need to live independently in the community, including the hours of attending care that they need to do that. And one of the great sponsors here today is Maureen Long from UPMC. I think she's somewhere here. Let's give Maureen and UPMC And if managed care is rolled out properly across Pennsylvania in all three regions, we are convinced that we will be able to continue rebalancing long-term care away from the institutional bias and serving more people in the community. So let's do it right and hold everybody accountable. Before we have our speakers from City Council is very pertinent right now. Before City Council are two housing bills. The construction impact fee, which will require any commercial, residential, and construction project in the city of Philadelphia to devote 1% of that revenue to affordable, accessible housing in the Housing Trust Fund. However, the devil's always in the details, and we have to pay attention and be vigilant, because that bill, we must ensure that it's amended to cover people who earn below 30% of area median income. And those are our people who are on Social Security, disability benefits, and SSDI. And as we move people out of nursing homes, the number one obstacle in Philadelphia right now is the lack of availability of affordable, accessible housing. So together we can do this, and we'll be at City Council on Thursday. Are you with me? Yeah, all right. Okay, I think next on our agenda, we have a great councilman. It's Al Taubenberger, who has helped us ensure that accessible taxis happen in Philadelphia, and also accessible Uber and Lyft vehicles. We're one of the first and only cities that are big cities that have this option. So let's give Councilman Al Taubenberger a big round of applause.
Tom, thank you very much for that introduction. And let me be very direct. Thank you, and thank you again for everything you do. Tom Earl is a great American, helping everybody. You know, being here on this hallowed ground is important. Our freedoms were first thought about, and the plan to gain those freedoms from the very building you look, right directly there, Independence Hall. Just a few moments ago, before I came here, I was at a commissioning ceremony for the Drexel University ROTC. Those men and women are there to defend our freedoms, and the work they're going to do is so very, very important. It's really kind of ironic, kind of interesting that I come to both, because with those freedoms comes a great responsibility to make sure that all Americans have access to the care that they need, that they can fulfill the lives they want to live, and they can live wherever they want. These are truly freedoms. And I will tell you this, as a human being, I appreciate those freedoms, because my parents were immigrants from Germany, in some sense refugees. They came in the 1930s from a place that had no freedoms. You did what the state wanted you to do, and actually it came down to one man wanted you to do. And that wasn't right. And many people had to die to remove that man from office. The freedoms we have here are sacred. And as a German American, I know and appreciate how great they are. But they're only great if we work together to allow all our citizens to rise to what they want to be, to live where they want to be. Those curb cuts, you know what? In some ways, they don't look important at all, but they're very, very important. And they need to be on every corner to give people accessibility to travel where they want with ease and comfort. That truly is freedom. So whenever there's an injustice, I want to be there with you. Whenever there is something that we need to work together, you count on me, because we have to make America even better. It's a great nation, but it can become greater yet with the freedoms we have if we speak about it. Whenever you march, I'm with you. God bless you, and thank you very much for your support in being here. Thank you.
Consistent with our community organizing and great empowerment that we do for inclusion of everybody in Philadelphia, there's a former organizer that I'd like to introduce next, who has been involved in many aspects of improvements in this city, including limiting the number of casinos that operate in the city and engage in predatory gambling practices. She's also been known for a long time as a champion of the public education system in Philadelphia. And without further ado, one of our big allies, Councilwoman Helen Gim. Big round of applause.
I'm here for the warriors. I'm here for the warriors who stand up for those of all abilities, and for those who believe in today, this month, as Pride Month, for those for the right to love, for civil rights and justice. I'm here for the warriors who fight for access to our public schools, who fight for access to our transit systems, who demand that this city needs to prioritize housing for all, housing as a human right, and the warriors who issue in our city and our federal government. One of the most iconic photos of the last year was our own Tom Earl being dragged out of the federal capitol in the fight to stop the dehumanizing and sickening attacks on people's health care. It was a moment of pride. It was a moment of justice. It was a sign of the power and voice and moral authority of this community that stood up when we have congressional leaders who are too afraid to stand up to the big money health insurers who would strip away our health care while taking $1.5 trillion in tax cuts from American citizens. I'm here for the warriors who will stand with our immigrant brothers and sisters who are right now fueling a for-profit detention and prison industry where we see on the border children being taken away from their parents and from the days of enslavement. This community is the one that I believe understands that this fight is not about politeness. It's not going to be about titles and money and power. We're not going to go up against all of that with knowing that they're going to bring all of that against us. This community is going to unite based on the principles which bring us all here. That is love for ourselves, first and foremost. Love for our families that bring us in solidarity and give us the strength to move on and get up each and every day. Love for our community, a disability pride community that has led the struggle for civil and human rights in this nation. And love for our broken country right now that is asking questions about its moral character and its direction in 2018. And almost 30 years after the ADA passed through, thanks to the incredible work of the disability community and communities all across the country, our fight is no less great. Our challenge is no less important. Our responsibility has never been greater. But I want this community to know that your power, your influence has also never been more fearsome, mighty, and influential at this time. And no matter what is happening in Harrisburg and DC, this is still our damn city, folks. This is still our city. And we have a lot that we can and must do in Philadelphia. You've got a city council that isn't miles away. I'm not Pat Toomey locked in my federal office building, insulated from guards. I'm down here with you. And I came into city council as a rabble-rousing street organizer that hit the streets in defense of our schools, our kids, our communities, and our city. I haven't changed. And I need us not to either. Thank you, and happy Pride.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman and Councilman Taubenberger, for those great speeches. So much of that is spot on. Okay. I think, Jennifer, we're going to be wrapping up if I'm correct. But before we do, I think we all need to give a huge round of applause to the Disability Pride Organizing Committee, led by Vicki Landers. Where's Vicki? She's probably hiding somewhere doing something at the last minute, knowing Vicki. So she's probably up at City Hall. The other thing I'd like to proudly announce is the graduation of a young lady from high school in Bucks County, Danielle Holsworth. Hey, Danielle, you made it. You made it. Great job, Danielle. And great job to Cassie and Johnny for bringing up such a beautiful daughter who has great values and stands for independent living. Woo! Hey, all right. I think I'm going to turn the mic over to whoever. I think that might conclude. I'm not sure, Jennifer. Are there any other speakers? That's it. So I understand we're going to be lining up along this walk here. And then